This is the first screencast in my series on world religions. What I'm going to try to do over the course of the next few weeks is create a number of screencasts on each chapter. I'll try to choose some of the major issues that come up in the chapter, and then we will discuss them through these screencasts. I'm also looking through the discussion forums and checking to see what big issues are coming up so that hopefully they can be addressed here. If you hear something in these screencasts that you want to talk about, go to the forums, discuss, and I'll be checking on those regularly. So this particular screencast is asking the question, what is religion? And I think that's a good way to start this class, since this is a class on world religions. It's a very difficult concept to define. You can define religion in terms of what religion does. It's a series of rituals or a group that has particular authority in a particular culture that deals with the worship of some divine being that holds certain myths, scriptures, spiritual practices, etc. to be sacred. But it's a very difficult thing to put in a box, religion. It's something that's a part of human society. The historian of religion, Karen Armstrong, suggests that as human beings, we ought to be called not Homo sapiens, which means the thinking creature like us, but we ought to be called Homo religiosus, because religion seems to be part and parcel of every major human society in history. That every society has had some kind of religion, be it a burial ritual, to founding myths, to these great ideas about what is possibly out there beyond our everyday experience. Okay, so since religion is a part of everyday society, what exactly is it? I think one of the things we ought to do is to go back to the etymology of the word. One thing we can think about when we think about the word religion is where it comes from. And religion comes from the root words religio in Latin. Religio means to tie back or to tie again. Now, what I find really kind of cool about this definition is that it's connected to another word that we're going to use to talk about religious expression, and that's the word yoga. Now, if you've done yoga at the gym, it's not exactly the yoga we're talking about. When we talk about Hinduism later on, Hindu spiritual principles are going to be referred to as yogas. There's yoga that is involved in meditation, some that's about philosophically trying to understand our lives, some that's about trying to lead a morally just life. So what does yoga have to do with religion? Well, let's think about it for just a second. Yoga comes from the Sanskrit word that means to tie together. It actually is very similar to our English word yoke. For those who've ever played the game Oregon Trail, probably one of those games you played back in elementary school, you often had to buy a yoke for your oxen. The yoke is that piece of wood, you see it, that ties the oxen together. Now the word religion also comes from a similar root. The word religion comes from the root religio, which means to tie back, or to tie again. For this you can kind of think of two things that are connected kind of by rope together. So what exactly are we tying back to? I think Mary Pat Fisher puts it pretty well when she says that all of religion shares the goal of tying people back to something behind the surface of life, a greater reality which lies beyond or invisibly infuses the world that we can perceive with our five senses. So religion ties us back to a greater reality beyond what we can see with our five senses. Now, whether that reality is called God or Brahman or Nirvana, or whether it's some ultimate structure of the universe that we have to learn to work within, that's what religion's talking about. Religion is some attempt here in this world to tie us back to something greater, to the transcendent, to the divine, however you want to talk about it. And that's what we'll be discussing over the next few days.